here's how I found my jobs in Italy as an expat who doesn't really know how to speak in Italian. I'm going to share with you guys how I was able to be hired and find these jobs that I shared with you in my previous video. So my first ever job here in Italy was an online English teacher for a Chinese company. I'm not going to be naming the company, but it starts with a 5, and I quit that job because their pay is way too low and they paid in pesos, and pesos converts to euros. Yeah, just doesn't work. So apart from that, I was also tutoring 2 Italian kids. I was helping them with their English subject, and they were paying me around 10 to 15 euros per hour. But that only happened like once or twice a week. Now let's move on to the real job. So my first ever real work, and when I say real work, it means that I was able to save money and actually earn like big money, was for a digital marketing agency as a content strategist. So if you are not on Upwork yet, get on Upwork. There are so many remote jobs. There are so many freelancing jobs always hiring there. So your next question probably is, do you need any experience to be hired on Upwork? Yes and no. Yes, because there are some companies that require just a little bit of what they're hiring. And no, because like me, I had no idea what digital marketing was. I had no idea what a content strategist did. But I think what really helped me is the fact that I had a website when I was back in the Philippines, and I was able to provide them that. So they kind of figured out that I knew a little bit of the marketing strategy, SEO, and all that stuff, which I didn't really. But I was hired, thank goodness, and I was able to really save up. Now, do you need to build a website to get this job? Absolutely not. There are companies that are willing to teach you, and I'm sure that you will learn along the way, because I learned along the way as well. Like I said, I had no idea what what you're supposed to do as a content strategist. But I learned along the way because I actually enjoyed it. And also another tip is go onto Facebook. There are so many like freelancing groups that you can join, and you can learn from them as well. And last but not the least is content creator. So what I am doing right now, I'm creating content for you guys, for TikTok, for my YouTube, for Instagram. And am I getting paid for it? I'm getting paid for it, yes. TikTok a little bit, Instagram no, YouTube a little bit. But my main flow of income, I guess right now, is UGC. So if you have any more questions, let me know. I am more than happy to help you guys.
It can definitely be hard to find a job in Sweden if you don't speak Swedish or you're not Swedish, but the good news is there are many companies that work in English, so jobs are out there. I moved to Sweden on a Sambo visa. I didn't need work to sponsor me, which made things a little simpler, but still it was difficult to find a job here. Before I moved, I made it a priority to find a job. That was a personal decision I made because I didn't feel comfortable moving without like a guaranteed source of income, but I do know people who moved here and found a job when coming here. So I first got a job when I was still living in the US, and then I moved over and I started that job. That job was not like a dream job of mine by any means, but I'm very thankful for it because it allowed me to move here and get my feet on the ground and get a Swedish company on my CV. So the first tip would be to look for big international companies. It's super frustrating looking on LinkedIn because a lot of job descriptions are in English, and then you go to the bottom and it says you need Swedish. So I would really just target like the big international companies because I think you'll have more luck there. I worked that first job I had for 1 year, and then I left and started an internship in marketing, which is the field I work in today, the field that I wanted to work in. There is a really good website called The Hub where startups and other companies will post internships. Most of them are unpaid, which does suck. Like no one wants to do unpaid labor, but I did do it for 3 months, and it was a good way just to get another Swedish company on my CV and kind of transition. So look for big international companies, be open to an internship, and the third tip, which is nothing revolutionary, but it would just be to network. I am a chronic LinkedIn messenger. I message so many people. After I apply for a job, if I'm really interested, I message the hiring manager. I just reach out to people asking for advice, if they're Americans in Sweden, if they're whoever they are. If they seem interesting and like I can connect with them, I do, because I mean, you just have to use all your resources. But I do know many people who have found a job here successfully. You have to be patient. The job market right now is not that good, but there are jobs out there and you'll find something eventually.
Tips you can't Google about getting a job abroad. Employers don't care that you studied French or Spanish or whatever in high school. What they really will end up caring about is your native language. One of the main reasons I was hired at my job is because I'm a native English speaker. But when they saw that I was a native English speaker, they were like, ding, 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 this girl can proofread every single document that comes through here. And that's because English is the working language of the Western world. If you go for big international companies and organizations, they're going to be looking for people like you who can effectively communicate in their working language, which is likely English. So don't try to hide it and scam your way into an interview or anything. Just embrace what your native language is and use it as the tool that it is.
Recently, I'm getting this comment once a day, so I'm just going to answer it here. When I first moved to Paris, I was just moving here temporarily to be an au pair. If you don't know what an au pair is, it's basically like a nanny. You can Google it and get way more information. But yeah, I did that for 1 year, and then throughout that year as well, my social media following was growing on both TikTok and Instagram. I decided to stay another year with the family that I was working for because I really love them. So I am a nanny, a content creator, and then I'm also in partnership with Ferdinand Duval, the face of and in charge of sourcing for a vintage brand. The brand is called French Girl Vintage, and the link will be in my bio. So much more info about that on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me on there, you should. But yeah, the short answer to this question is a lot. I love everything that I do though. I'm a massive workaholic because I really enjoy it, and yeah, I couldn't be happier.
People are always asking how I make money in Vietnam and what do I do here. When I first got here years ago, I worked as a fine dining chef. I came here and I was hired to do that. After that, I started playing music here. I didn't make a lot of money doing that, but it was just cool to do it. And then after that, I opened a tour company, which went really well, but I sold that. That's Back in Bike Tours, still in operation, still fantastic. I highly recommend it. So that was the original trip. Now on this trip coming back here, TikTok alone will pay enough to live a humble life in the countryside. So TikTok pays anywhere from $5 a day to 80 to maybe there's a few $100 days in there too. I never know, it's random, I can't depend on it. But if I wanted to, I could live off of TikTok in the countryside in a humble life. Brand deals for content will pay for a life in Saigon. So you see me doing some deals here and there, and working with Chinsu a lot heavily lately. And I'm going to continue doing that. My relationship with Chinsu has been really good. And there's some field trips coming up. I'm actually going to Japan in a few days. They're sending me out there. And hopefully we're going to be going around Vietnam with them to see their factories, to see their farms that use. So I'm excited about that. So brand deals from content will pay for a life in Saigon. Beyond that, we have a strong savings that we don't need to touch, but if we needed to touch, it's there. So it gives us some security. Beyond that, I'll probably open another business here soon, and I'm going to be focusing hard on content for the next year. You know, things are going well right now, and I intend to just push it harder and go further and give you a lot more and see what I can do. So that will be my focus for the next year. So for people that are interested in moving here, it's getting really hard with the visa situation. Visas are not easy like they used to be. They're much harder to do it. The easy common answer is if you are a native English speaker, you absolutely can teach English here. You need to get an ESL degree or something. I don't know about it. It's not that hard to do it, but you can do it. And people that teach English here tend to live a pretty comfortable life. So if that's a path you want to go down, that's the only path I can easily recommend. You know, other skill sets, like someone reached out, they were a mechanic or something. I don't think it's going to work. If you're a chef, again, it's hard to get hired now with the visas. So unless you're going down the English teaching path, I don't have any advice for you. Yep.